Some classic fiction next. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, first published in 1899. Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness is a short, intense novella defined by its serpentine style of writing and sinister atmosphere. It was to inspire one of the most extraordinary films of the 20th century, Apocalypse Now by Francis Ford Coppola. Released in 1979, the film resets Conrad's book during the Vietnam War. Joseph Theodor Konrad Korzeniowski was born in 1857 in Berdychiv, Ukraine, a city that was once part of Poland but then belonged to the Russian Empire. Orphaned at the age of 11, at 16 he joined the French and then the British Merchant Marine, spending more than a decade of his life at sea. He learnt English, his third language, fluently in his 20s, and then settled in Britain. Conrad wrote in English, he said, because he believed it to be more flexible than French. However, while fluent, a slight foreignness makes his writing unique. In Heart of Darkness, originally published as a 3-part series in a magazine, Conrad drew on his experience as a seaman, in this case working for a Belgian company as captain of a steamboat on West Africa's Congo River in the 1890s. The book is set during the so-called Scramble for Africa, when the colonial powers invaded the continent and used native slaves to help them steal its treasures. It is both an adventure story and a criticism of the cruelty and criminality of colonialism. The book begins in London. A story within a story, a sailor called Charles Marlowe tells the tale to another man, who narrates it to us. Marlowe is an adventurous yet skeptical man, an idealist who became hardened by life at sea. As he explains, he became fascinated by the unexplored regions of the Congo in his youth.
A mighty big river that you could see on the map, resembling an immense snake uncoiled, with its head in the sea, its body at rest, curving afar over a vast country, and its tail lost in the depths of the land.
Marlowe joins a Belgian trading company to replace a man who was killed under mysterious circumstances. He travels along the west coast of Africa to the mouth of the Congo. His first stop is a place called Central Station, where he is horrified by what he finds. Europeans, so intent on retrieving precious ivory, have been blinded by greed. Enslaved Africans are so abused to this end that many are close to death.
I've seen the devil of violence, and the devil of greed, and the devil of hot desire. But, by all the stars, in the blinding sunshine of that land, I would become acquainted with a flabby, pretending, weak-eyed devil of a rapacious and pitiless folly.
It is at Central Station that Marlowe first hears of a European man called Kurtz, a champion trader with a hugely profitable trading station who has become ill. Marlowe resolves to bring him home. Travelling along the river into the African interior, Marlowe ruminates on the jungle landscape, describing it as something sentient yet vengeful, which takes a psychological toll on the foreigners who venture into it.
We penetrated deeper and deeper into the heart of darkness. It was very quiet there. At night, sometimes the roll of drums behind the curtain of trees would run up the river and remain sustained faintly, as if hovering in the air high over our heads, till the first break of day. Whether it meant war, peace, or prayer, we could not tell.
On reaching Kurtz's station, he discovers just how insidious its effect can be. On the riverbank, Marlowe observes ornamental balls on tall poles that, on closer inspection, are decapitated human heads. When Kurtz finally appears, so sick that he can barely stand, Marlowe sees, or rather hears, his tyrannical command over the natives.
It was as though an animated image of death, carved out of old ivory, had been shaking its hand with menaces at a motionless crowd of men made of dark and glittering bronze. I saw him open his mouth wide, gave him a weirdly voracious aspect, as though he had wanted to swallow all the air, all the earth, all the men before him.
It also becomes clear that Kurtz's malaise is more than physical. Alone in the wilderness, decides Marlowe, he has gone mad. He forces Kurtz onto his boat, but the trader quickly succumbs to his illness. Marlowe is with him in his last terrible moments of life.
I saw on that ivory face the expression of sombre pride, of ruthless power, of craven terror, of an intense and hopeless despair. He cried out twice, a cry that was no more than a breath. The horror! The horror!
Heart of Darkness has inspired many books, plays, and even video games, not all of them uncritical of Conrad's novella. In his 1958 novel Things Fall Apart, the Nigerian writer Chinua Achebe challenges Conrad's perception of Africans as savages and primitive.